All right, let's see. Is the sound coming in clear? Is the sound coming in clear? Let's see. Yes, it is. Awesome. So I'm Logan Saunders, otherwise known as the TARstorian, which, in case you can't crack that, that stands for the Amazing Race Historian. And I'm doubling up. I hate it when people double up on recaps and do multiple episodes at once, but that's what we have to do. Episode 6 and 7 recap. Episode 8 airs in just over an hour on the East Coast. And right now, nobody on the East Coast would be watching this because they're too busy watching the revival of the Survivor auction on CBS or Paramount Plus or other means. Okay, so episode 6. Once again, we're stuck in freaking Jaipur. It's funny, people are saying, wow, they're traveling so much during this season of Amazing Race, yet we are in line with the worst season of all time, the Amazing Race 24, of having the first 6 legs in only 3 cities. Not even 3 countries, just 3 cities in the surrounding areas. So that's really, I'm surprised that isn't bumming people out as much as it usually does pre-COVID. I wonder if people are just happy to be outside of Europe for the first time in years. Years. Of course, episode 6, we start out with the must vote U-turn during the pit stop. Much better than that stupid format they had in season 31. I still don't get why they did that, where they had everyone draw numbers and then everyone verbally cast a U-turn vote, when every other international version, they always voted anonymously, just as they did in episode 6 of this season. And must vote U-turns have been around for over a decade in foreign versions, and almost a decade at the point of season 31 when they did that verbal vote. I still don't get it. Whoever votes first, either the following teams are going to vote for the first team to cast a U-turn vote, or everyone is just going to piggyback that U-turn vote. That's all that's going to happen. And that is that was very frustrating at the time. One of many reasons why season 31 really sucks, in my opinion. I know Survivor fans and Big Brother fans like season 31, but they don't really matter when it comes to the Amazing Race. Sure, you had Rupert for 2 episodes. Good job. But the first Japan leg was on a budget of about $10.23. It was like an episode of Amazing Race Canada. And there are hundreds of more interesting things to do in Japan compared to having 2 game show tasks. That still makes me occasionally punch a wall like Andy Bernard from The Office. Let's see. So we see Liam and Jeremy's vote for Robin and Chelsea. I was about to say Robin and Michelle, but that's more of Chantel Francis of Reality Realness to screw up everyone's names that badly. Greg and John voted for Steve and Anna Lee. Jill and Garrett debate who to vote for. Rob and Corey also debate. They propose rock, paper, scissors. I don't know how you do rock, paper, scissors when there are 8 other teams to vote for. Todd and Ashley also debated between Robin and Chelsea and Rob and Corey, surprisingly, even though they will proceed to help out Rob in episode 7. And Robin and Chelsea are torn between Greg and John as being too likable. So that's why they can't U-turn them. So maybe Steve and Annalee, even though we've seen them repeatedly take digs at Annalee specifically, so we know they're going to U-turn them. And Morgan and Lena also vote for Robin and Chelsea. So we know Edit has clearly built up to this. It's going to be Robin and Chelsea or Steve and Annalee. However, it would have been hilarious if a completely random team got U-turned, like, I don't know, Andrea and Milena. If Andrea and Milena got U-turned without any context whatsoever, no editing hints, that would have been perfect. But alas, editors don't have the same sense of humor as I do. Teams are provided with 1,000 rupees for this leg of the Amazing Race, which is interesting because in The Legend of Zelda, you need a special wallet to hold more than 1,000 rupees. You usually max out at 999. And they have to find a shoe stall. Let's see. Annalee says that it is ass. No, it's not ass. It's a shoe stall. Come on now. What are you talking about, Annalee? Flip page. I don't even have any stats ready. This recap's going to be all over the place, and it feels like I'm just reading off of a teleprompter. how lovely a viewing experience it is for all of you. Greg and John are 1 hour behind Stephen and Annalene in the departure times because that's the one really good thing about this season. Ever since season 14, they stopped doing departure times for whatever reason because they thought people didn't really care about it, even though there are countless blogs, such as mine, that keep track of all departure times and try to figure out who has been consistently, who's had the most total time of being behind other teams altogether in Amazing Race history. And if you exclude the extremities such as Joe and Bill being a full day behind in season 1, Lucy and Amelia on average end up being a couple hours behind all of the teams every single leg during Amazing Race Australia too. So I'm sure people want to see, are the filming dates really longer? Is there a big spread between teams, or is it just all together and the filming time for each leg is really short? Because that's the impression we've had through the first 5 episodes, is that the individual legs haven't been that long. We had legs 3 and 4 both filming the same day, and they only had a total filming time from when they touched down in Kanto, the Indigo League. They only had a filming time of start to finish for 6 hours for legs 3 and 4, which isn't very long, because we've had legs such as the Oman leg in season 17 that went on for 15 or 16 or 17 hours altogether when Nat and Kat and Gary and Mallory got to the pit stop at the end of the day, or at the end of the night, I should say. Let's see. We see the telescopic monocular. I already forgot about that. I guess it has been 2 weeks ago. We all have short memories. The Hawa Mahal Instagram spot for Phil, which was apparently shown back in season 1, where it was labeled as the Palace of the Winds. I already talked about in my episode 5 recap how we had the Amber Palace. Yeah. Amber Palace was also a route marker in season 1, and the stairs was the location of the famous roadblock that took out Sue and Teresa in their aura spray in Amazing Race Australia 2. So it's funny they didn't do a task there. And here we are, more overlap with season 1. Interesting. And let's see, we see more spread and departure times, blah, 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 blah. Phil Kogan says 25% of the 8 million rickshaws in Jaipur, or perhaps in India. No, there's over 1 billion people. Has to be Jaipur. 25% of the 8 million rickshaws in Jaipur are electric. And there are women drivers now. If you know your Amazing Race history, India is very notorious for female contestants not being treated the best on the season. Listen to Racers Recap, where Justin talks about how Tiffany and Krista were groped once or multiple times while in India. And we definitely saw that in early seasons. Dancing Emily couldn't even buy their own train tickets in India. They had to have Kevin and Drew or Joe and Bill or a man. They needed a man to buy the tickets for them. So all female teams typically don't get treated the best in India on the Amazing Race, with the most extreme case being Tian and Jury, which is probably the most memorable moment from season 4, I would say. And yes, they weren't on the train that they were supposed to be on, because I think it was supposed to be an all-male train, and that's why they got a lot of attention on there. But still, even if they're on there, that does not mean they should be subjected to a massive amount of groping. Oh, what life was like 20 years ago. Not good. Okay, let's see. Todd and Ashley depart at 10:03 a.m. How far are they behind Steve and Annalie? Steve and Annalie start out at 8:48 a.m. So they're close to an hour and a half ahead of Todd and Ashley at the start of the day. What is it? Rob and Corey were 10:09 a.m., I believe. So Steve and Annalise leave at the end of episode 5 with doing the puppet task. Really gave them the biggest lead out of any pit start at this point in the season. And we see that Joel and Garrett's rickshaw driver sucked, but the frame of how much a rickshaw driver sucks is really going to be reframed by the end of the episode, since Liam and Jeremy are going to spend 99% of their day in an electric rickshaw. And Steve and Emily reach the U-turn board first, and by a vote of 5-4, they are indeed U-turned. It's too bad that they didn't use their shot in the dark or play a hidden immunity idol, because then those votes would have been negated, and bye Robin and Chelsea. And we get our detour. Bundles are bricks, and bundles, they carried a bunch of bundles in bricks. In bundles, they had to deliver bundles. There's something stupid with the receipt where they had to drop it off halfway through before, or they had to drop off if they got U-turned, deliver the receipt before doing the other task. They had to fully complete that task before going to the bricks task. So we had that in bundles, deliver bundles of flowers. And as Erin Sparks, yes, I've dealt with her for about 10 years on different Amazing Race forums. She's pointed out that this season is the season of delivery-based tasks. And I think we've had 3 or 4 delivery-based tasks already, because in episode 4, we had the mattress deliveries. In episode 3, that was the first leg in Vietnam. I don't even remember what the hell happened there already. I have to review all of my notes, and I don't feel like doing that right now. In episode 2, did they deliver anything? They had the Lotus. Oh, in episode 3, I guess we had the Vietnamese boats with the fruit delivery. So yeah, I guess that's 3 consecutive episodes with delivery-based tasks, which you don't see too often in most seasons of The Amazing Race. This isn't Amazing Race Canada with their dancing challenges or memorize a random speech. But here, so far in Amazing Race 35, 3 consecutive episodes of delivery, so it's really become noticeable. And let's see, and in the bricks task, teams must deliver bricks using a cycle rickshaw, which just on paper seems like a slower task. Plus, I don't know how to ride a bike, so I would definitely be delivering the bundles. I would not be delivering the bricks. And teams are evenly split between who did what. Steve and Annalie, Andrew and Milena, Morgan and Lena, and Liam and Jeremy all did bundles. And for bricks, we have Steve and Annalie, because they had to do both by default. Joel and Garrett, Greg and John, Robin, Corey, Todd and Ashley, and Robin and Chelsea, they all did the bricks. There are a lot of savings at the bricks, just not time savings. Let's see. So yeah, we have Greg and John pushing the rickshaws, because that was the thing too, is that you had to pick a rickshaw driver. So that involved a little game of Frogger or Rush Hour, where you had to push away all of the rickshaws to clear a path for one of the assigned ones. I think the goal with the U-turn, why production had a must vote U-turn here, I think they knew whoever got U-turned was likely not going to be eliminated from the race, because this leg was highly contingent upon your rickshaw driver, since you had that same rickshaw driver for the day. You could not switch out. You had a row of 10 drivers if you're the first team there, 9 drivers if you're the first team there. I said how many teams were left? 9? Yes, there were 9. Yes, there were 9. So there were 9 teams there, which means there would only be 9 drivers for the first team, and then a decreasing number for each preceding team for each subsequent team that showed up. So if you're Liam and Jeremy, you're stuck with the leftover driver, and that happened to be the worst driver possible. Lost hours and hours. So this U-turn really was completely irrelevant. All it did was just create more storyline and more confrontation between Annalie and the other teams, which is funny for Steve, because he's gone from being being a tomato face from being sunburned so frequently to now being an angry tomato, or a rotten tomato face, because of how pissed off he is about being U-turned. And then Annalie interrogating the other teams at the roadblock was hilarious too. It's funny when short white women get mad. That's one of my favorite pastimes. Oh yeah, I didn't even really go over the active route info task before that with the telescopic monocular, where you used it to try and find your next destination in a window. I think I would have been pretty good at that. I would have been patient and been methodical. I wouldn't have been trying to move that monocular, the telescopic monocular, all over the damn place. Let's see, what do we have here? Robin doesn't like going anywhere on Saturdays. I don't think Robin likes going anywhere at all, unless it's, I don't know, to a fist fight or something. Joel loves cycling. That's why he chose the cycle rickshaw. So that impaired his judgment. He just thought, oh, cycling is fun. Using a cycle rickshaw through a city in India with tens of millions of people should be equally as fun. I may as well be racing in Belgium. Let's see. Morgan and Lena departed last at 10:44 a.m. So they're about 2 hours from first to last at the pit start. It's about 2 hours, which is pretty good by contemporary standards. Usually it's it's an even smaller time gap than that. I think with 9 teams there should be a bit more of a spread, 2.5, 3 hours. 3 hours is roughly, seems like it's a difficult enough leg for teams to get spread out. If it's less than 2 hours, that's a sign that a leg was just too easy, as Australians would say. It's just too easy. Let's see. We have Todd and Corey both pushing rickshaws out of the way because Ashley NBA jammed her fingers. No, wait. Todd's the basketball player. He likes NBA jam. Boom, shakalaka. Let's see. Oh, yeah, when Steve and Emily are riding in the rickshaw, the electric rickshaw, Steve's ass is hanging out the window, so that's not a visual I want to ever see again. Let's see. Steve and Emily initially missed the template by the looks of it. Morgan can't read the sign because she says she is blind. That's a lie. Morgan is not blind. I like seeing Liam and Jeremy, who people online were saying, oh, they're going to hit their stride. They did fine in leg 4 with that roadblock and pit stop being the same place and how they handled those Vietnamese mattresses. It turns out that was just a one-time thing. The Vietnamese mattresses are the only things that Liam and Jeremy are awesome at handling. Maybe that's why Liam is so single. Liam and Jeremy were temporarily stumped by that monocular. They lost some time there. Not that it would matter because they end up with the shittiest rickshaw driver in the Masonry's history, but still. And yeah, I already talked about the disadvantage of being last when you get to pick your electric rickshaw driver. Let's see. Yep, Steve and Emily forgot to bring their receipts after completing the bundles task, and the bricks vendor was given the word by producers. I'm surprised how many fans said, oh, how did that judge at the bricks task know to tell Steve and Emily to go back? Because there are producers there communicating with the camera and audio crew that accompany the teams. They are always checking in with updates. So yes, that's how they knew that that's how that guy knew that Steve and Annalie did not deliver their receipt. And apparently Annalie kept asking production if they could just go straight to the other task, but production's not really allowed to give you any additional advice beyond what's in the clue. So maybe the one producer was just some rookie person who just told Annalie what she wanted to hear, and then nope, that rookie producer was just intimidated. You still have to deliver the receipt. That's what it says in the clue. You have to complete the task in its entirety before doing the other task in a U-turn. You can't consolidate both receipt deliveries after you've completed both tasks. You have to do a full, complete 100% walkthrough of one task, and then you move on to your other one. But yeah, I guess Annalie was mildly tiffed about that. Tiffed is the right word, I think. Let's see. Anything else? It's just Corey is cramping and he's ready to vomit. I was excited. I was hoping to see our first vomiting incident of the season, and sadly, Corey did not vomit. He kept everything down, or he vomited when the camera couldn't film him because he wanted to preserve his dignity. Let's see. Milena, this episode. If you're playing a drinking game, have a shot every time Milena says out of towners. And the great thing about Milena saying out of towners is that the more tired she is, the more winded the out of towners thing is. So by the end of the leg, it's out of towners, out of towners. And as opposed to the start of the day where it's out of towners. But yes, yeah, that was quite funny that she was so out of breath by the end of it. Out of towners. I'm an out of towner. Can I get in that rickshaw, please? Uh, we find out India is the world's largest producer of cotton. So, given that India potentially has the largest population of any country in the world now, of course, they've got to be leading in certain categories. They've got 1.4 billion potential people to cultivate cotton, as opposed to, say, I don't know, Nauru, Luxembourg, San Marino. They don't have enough people to produce all of that cotton. If India can produce anything, they're bound to be the head of the pack. Let's see. And yeah, we have another route info. So this is the first leg where they really stepped up the route infos between the telescopic monocular, picking the electric rickshaw of death, and now the going to the textile shop to pick up the rug to bring to the roadblock. So I think production they underestimated how much the first 4 episodes would be drawn out, or first 5 episodes would be drawn out in terms of material. And here we are in episode 6, and they're finally starting to add in those extra active route infos that we want to see now that there's fewer teams. Yeah, even with 12 or 11 teams before, not having those extra active route infos really made the 90 minutes drag, especially when it was a short filming period. But here in episode 6, they finally think, okay, we've gotten to know the teams. We didn't put too many extra tasks. We had that bamboo carrying task from episode 5. Now let's crank up the active route infos to fulfill the 90-minute time slot. This episode drags a little bit because it's just mainly because we know that Liam and Jeremy are so dead in the water. They're so DOA. As soon as they pick that electric rickshaw, there's no way in hell they'll catch up. And that teams it didn't seem like the longest day for filming either. Those tasks didn't seem to take that long, and the delivery task wasn't very interesting, but it was still a step up over the previous few episodes that we've seen. And then one amusing exchange, I guess, at the Brixty tours when Rob and Corey show up because they didn't know exactly where they were in the pack. And Corey sees Greg and Sean, says, "Oh, yeah, we're happy to see you guys." And Greg and Sean, I guess, are just so exhausted so far that they just go, "Yeah, we are so happy to see you too." Because they're just so damn winded. Roadblock, print on provided textiles from the previous shop and stamp 9 peacocks, because apparently this is NBC and not a CBS show. Rob, Greg, Todd, Joel, I can't read my own handwriting, Lena, Steve, Milena, and Liam. Yeah, I have 8 teams here. I didn't even bother specifying it was Liam and Jeremy because they were so far behind. They all end up doing the roadblock. Oh, and also Robin. Robin did the roadblock too. I forgot to write that in. I have my own box for who did the roadblock, and for some reason I didn't write in the last 2. Not that it really mattered. Chelsea said that her and Robin's spouses picked them because they can carry a barbecue up the stairs. So I don't know which part of the country Robin and Chelsea live in. Washington. They live in Washington State. They live near me. That's right. They live in Washington State. And apparently, even though I used to go to Washington State every single summer to visit my aunt up until I was 16, I did not know that women or that men picked their female partners based on whether or not they could carry a barbecue up the stairs. That's quite the courtship. That's the deal breaker. Can you carry barbecue up the stairs? If not, this relationship is over. Move to another part of the country. Move to New York City for all I care. Let's see. Greg gets slammed with a lot of X to the Z exhibits from that roadblock judge, as does Robin, as we'll see. She did not get the hang of that task at all, but because Liam and Jeremy's rickshaw driver drove into Bangladesh as opposed to the route marker, didn't really matter how long Robin took at that task. Let's see. Oh, John has a very "that's my boy blue" moment with Greg succeeding at the roadblock. Yeah, old school reference. Old school reference. Yes, I already talked about Annalise interrogation. She looked like she was ready to hit everybody. She hit Corey, but for some reason she was not brave enough to hit Garrett. Maybe she knows that if you punch Garrett in the mustache, all hell is going to break loose, and production does not want to eject both teams from the race. They want to see Joel wipe his tears away with his beard. They want more moments like that can go viral. Lena is giving CPR to the stamp. That was her technique, was just giving CPR. So that was hilarious. Let's see. Greg and John, they win in episode 6. They are introduced to the pit stop greeter, who we don't really care about at all. I don't remember anything hilarious about the pit stop greeter. Let's see. Todd keeps getting X'd like it's a Jamie Kennedy show. If you're under the age of 25, you have no idea who Jamie Kennedy is. Steve uses the wrong shade of blue when he does the roadblock. It would suck to be colorblind at this task. He checks the blueprint, and he wasn't even trying to make a pun. Unintentional pun by Steve. Andrea lies about voting against Steve and Annalee. Not that it matters, because according to Ian, Andrea and Milena go home at the end of episode 7. Joel asks the judge to chickadee check him out. I think that should have been a 10-minute penalty just for that catchphrase right there. Second was Rob and Corey. Third was Joel and Garrett. Fourth was Morgan and Lena. What a streaky team, always being at the front, being down at the bottom repeatedly, and now somewhere in the middle. You're better off just going to random.org to determine where Morgan and Lena will finish on a leg of the Amazing Race, because there seems to be no rhyme or reason to it. And let's see. Robin's just starting the roadblock, and all the other 7 teams are gone, but even with how much she struggles, we learn that she homeschools her children. Don't be judgmental. She completes the roadblock. Todd keeps asking Phil if he wants a ride. Do you want a ride, Phil? Do you want a ride? No, Phil only wants a mustache ride. He will only respond to Garrett. I hear he told Todd that his joke was really effing lame. That's why he just did not respond to Todd on screen in the edit, but in the unaired footage, he was cussing out Todd for really pushing that really lame joke. Fifth place is Todd and Ashley, because apparently there's a deal in the universe that they're only allowed to finish in third or fifth place. I don't know why I said fourth. Andrew and Milena passed Steve and Annalee without Steve and Annalee noticing. I think it's because Steve's sunburned head has increased to twice its size, so he can't really see, and then Annalee can't see behind his humongous swollen head. Andrew and Milena finish in 6th. Steve and Annalee are 7th. Robin and Chelsea are 8th. Liam breezes through the roadblock. According to him, he had the fastest time of anybody at that roadblock by far. So Liam and Jeremy definitely would have survived this leg if not for their awful electric rickshaw driver that they weren't allowed to give up. And aside from people being upset that they went home because of how physically attractive they are to certain people, it's just a really bummer way to go out that Liam and Jeremy were just, it wasn't like there was nothing they could do. It's just, here's this terrible driver. Whoever gets this driver, that team will be eliminated this leg. All of it is null and void. So yeah, not the best. Let's get to episode 7. Let's see. Oh, the new episode will be on in 40 minutes. I wonder if people are watching this just to refresh their memories, Probably not. Let's see. So previously, that we just talked about a few minutes ago, Stephen Adley got U-turned by a 5-4 vote, which is something you would see on Survivor. I already made a bunch of Survivor references. Phil points out that Annalie interrogated the other teams. Let's see. And then Liam and Jeremy went home. We get more of Robin's backstory, and then we jump straight into the leg. The spread between first and last, which I have neatly ordered up this time. Greg and John departed first at 6:42 a.m. Robin and Chelsea departed last at 9:18 a.m. So we're at about just over 2.5 hour spread between first and last. I have to remind myself just to put all the departure times in a row and then separate it from the rest of my notes. That's a good idea, Logan. And let's see, Morgan and Lena have a fear of self-driving. I don't know what it is with all-female teams, but there's always one all-female team who really, really sucks at self-driving. You have to go all the way back to season 6 with Meredith and Maria, and they could not go anywhere in Europe without stalling 20 times. Yeah. And now a lot of teams are working, at least we're enough seasons in that an all-female team needs to take the time to learn how to self-drive or drive a stick. Drive a stick, handle a stick, however you want to inappropriately phrase it. The bummer is we're getting yet another visit to Germany. This is the third season out of the past 4 that we've had a Germany visit. However, most Germany legs are really, really boring, but this is by far the best Germany leg we've had in a long time. It was self-drive. We had we had more interesting tasks than we usually do in Germany. And it was just really well structured overall. It didn't matter that I even wrote on Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter, about 27 minutes of the 90 minutes of the episode. I wrote on X that Andrea and Melina are for sure being eliminated. There was no way they were going to catch up. And then about 10 minutes later after that, I wrote, I don't think Andrea and Melina are even going to reach the pit stop. I think they're going to get eliminated at the second roadblock task on the bridge, or the Hohenschollenbrook. Yeah, and I was right, almost. They don't even make it to they only made it to the carnival task after the first roadblock. So I was one route marker away from having a perfect run with my Andrea and Melina predictions for this leg. And I'll get this note out of the way now. If this was an eastward leg or eastward route for this season, we would have lost Andrea and Melina after one episode of self-driving. Clearly, they were by far the worst when it came to self-navigation and driving around. It wasn't even going to be close. We would have still had Alexander and Sheridan. But because this was a westward route, we had 7 episodes of Andrea and Melina as opposed to 1. So I think that's where the victory lies, because the only bummer is that when I was doing my cast assessment, I thought Andrea and Melina wouldn't even last half of an episode. So it's a bit funny that if this was an eastward route, I would have been right. They would have lasted only half of an episode, but because it went westward, they lasted 7. And I'm not upset about being wrong, and specifically Melina was a really hilarious wild card to deal with all season long. Just the amount of things she would screw up that Andrea would have to compensate her for was always funny to watch. Out of towners. And let's see. So we don't get a flight scramble. It's funny because a lot of podcasters who haven't been watching the Amazing Race for a long time say, "Oh, it's right back." They're buying into the edit of, "Oh, it's old school Amazing Race. It's old school Amazing Race. Look at this flight scramble." Well, we're 7 episodes in and we've only had 1 flight scramble, because somehow from Jaipur to Cologne, Germany, they all end up on the same flight, and we get the usual contemporary Amazing Race bit of releasing everybody from the departure area or the arrivals area of an airport after everyone's cleared customs, and releasing them all simultaneously. So it's not as old school as you think. And of course, we've definitely seen Cologne on the Amazing Race before. I am too lazy to check up which season specifically. Was it season? No, it wasn't season 16. I'll find it. I'll find it in a minute. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Let's see. Whoop! Where'd I go? I pressed the wrong button. This is not the most interesting part of the podcast. Let's see. Europe, Germany. Was it 9? Was it season 9? Because season 6 they did Berlin. Nope, wasn't season 9. Oh, what's my next guess? 14? No, 14. They were barely in Germany. They barely touched it. 16 was Munich. What about 19? No, 19 was Berlin too. I just remembered. Let's see. 22, they were in Berlin. I don't think they did Cologne. Maybe 20. No, 20 there in Bavaria. No. Jesus Christ, this is making me look like an idiot. 26, there was a Cologne. There was a Cologne task in France. That's why the word Cologne came up for season 26. Yeah. Okay. I guess maybe they haven't been to Cologne then. That's a strike against me. I'll check season 22. No, 22 wasn't there. And let's see. No, I guess they hadn't done Cologne before. I stand corrected. Okay, so let's see. We have the exchange of exchanging the €5 coins for Audrey Hellers, James Hellers, Whit Baskins, Schrovenheimers, that other coin, Schroestein, Ramstein, those coins. And they have to drive to a car ferry. Yeah, they have to drive the car ferry and exchange those €5 coins. And almost every team figures it out. They're on one of the two ferries. But Andrew and Milena, when they eventually reach the correct, the wrong car ferry, because in the clue it says go to a money changer to exchange your €5. It just so happens that there is a guy that's his job, is to be a money changer. When he's asked, "Are you a money changer?" Yes, he is a money changer. Here you go. Here's change for €5 for a €5 note. So that was pretty hilarious, because when teams make a blunder, especially if they're really on the wrong path about something, they get a clue. There's a hint. I got to separate it from clues in a clue box. There is a hint fairly early on that they are really on the wrong track. The most common way to be corrected onto the correct race course is if running into another team and asking them, "Oh, why are you doing this?" And the other team can say, "Well, why are you doing that? You are doing something wrong." And that's how a lot of teams avoid a major blunder. Another way is that your way of thinking would just hit a dead end to where it just doesn't make any sense at all. So, for instance, Andrew and Milena would go to a car ferry, and in similar situations, there wouldn't be a money changer. And that would be the hint of, oh, we must be at the wrong car ferry because there isn't a money changer here. We need to backtrack. But here in this case, there was a money changer. So their flawed logic and their incorrect line of thinking is just led down this massive hole, as opposed to most teams who make a blunder where they only get this deep into the hole and they find out, oh, we really screwed up. We lost an hour. But with Andre and Milena, they just keep digging and digging and digging down this wrong path to the point that they get all the way to that first roadblock, which is the bag of coins you now have. You have to sort out 15 of them to trade for your clue and then rappel down the side of the mountain, side of the castle. That was not a mountain. They get all the way, and it's not until they get all the way there that Andre realizes, oh, that bag of we don't have the bag of coins that we needed from that initial point at the car ferry. So now we have to go all the way back, find the wrong car ferry again. The money changer will tell us, I'm a money changer, but I'm not the money changer that you're looking for. and then go find the correct car ferry as well, and then go back to the roadblock and do that first roadblock. So we're talking hours of lost time because of that one mistake of finding somebody who happened to be the exact person being described in the clue. That's pretty harsh. And I can't believe there are a bunch of idiots. There are a bunch of idiots on Reddit saying, "Oh well, that money changer was a really good scam artist. They got the exact change for the coins, and for the €5, and that's his job. He is a money changer." That'd be like going to, I don't know, go grocery shopping, and you go to a cashier, and the cashier does exactly what they're supposed to do, and then you get pissed off saying, "No, you scammed me." No, that's the cashier. That's their job. You asked for a cashier. That's what you got. Anyways, the correct money changer. I said Red Green's cousin hands out the coins. So a lot of people in Germany look like Canadian TV host Red Green. I've never really seen Red Green, just commercial. Well, I've physically seen his image, but I've never sat through a Red Green segment. At least I can admit that. Unlike Brian from the Reality Guys, who says he's never seen an episode of Friends, yet he knows how Friends episodes are titled. I really don't like Friends, but I'll admit, yes, I have seen a fair chunk of episodes because I was born in the '90s. But yeah, it's a pretty garbage show. I tried to do a series run through, and I skipped a lot of segments and episodes because that's a show meant for actors. That's an actor show as opposed to, say, Arrested Development or Seinfeld or even Simpsons to a certain extent in the '90s, where it's more of a writer show where you're more there for the writing material and the jokes, not so much for the actors and the personalities. Let's see. So Tal and Ashley are in first, and I'm sure God was looking down from above, saying, "What the hell is this? Tal and Ashley in first. Let's give them a soccer darts detour task to really fuck them up, so they fall back down to third." And that's exactly what happened. They fell down to that third or fourth range, or fourth or fifth. Why do I keep saying fourth? I know in my brain, I'm thinking fifth every single damn time. What the hell is wrong with me? So yeah, Todd and Ashley, once again, third or fifth, third or fifth. Aside from like 3, where they got that one fourth, but still, but for the most part, third or fifth. That's the law. It'll be like that between now and the end of time. Yeah, it'll last the entire length of Methuselah's lifespan. Let's see. There's a robber baron, so that's who they had to pay off with a bag of coins. There was a robber baron. He didn't look all that intimidating, though. It didn't look like he was gonna, cut your head off or anything and grab the coins, grab the wittens, and go straight to Heller. So let's see. I didn't take too many notes this episode. So the ones who did the roadblock, in case you don't feel like looking on the official Wikia fandom, it was Todd, Garrett, Annalie, Morgan, John, Corey, Chelsea, and Andrea, who I forgot to write down because they were so damn far behind. And a lot of teams ended up working together. Morgan, of course, breezed through the figuring out the coins, but that advantage she got from figuring out the coins seemed very, very minimal because a lot of teams all seemed very close together. So her breezing through it really only got her maybe a 2 or 3 minute advantage by the looks of it, maybe 5, because a lot of teams just work together and boom, 15 coins. That's the way to get in. Everyone hands in 15, even when John beat Corey at the task, because Greg and John and Rob and Corey were on that second ferry, where Corey saw John breeze through it. Seemed like he was only a minute or 2 later. So it's, you had a really impressive performance. Congratulations, you got a 45-second head start. And let's see. Let's see, we're almost there. Yeah, Josh, there was the Josh Grosjean coin. Let's see, do I have too many notes? Yeah, Todd, Annalie, and Garrett worked together at the roadblock, and they were told for Garrett to let his mustache guide him down the castle when rappelling. Apparently, Garrett's mustache is more magnetic and gives you a better sense of direction than a compass would, or Google Maps. Let's see. Chelsea brute forced her way. This is how easy this roadblock was. Chelsea just brute forced her way through, where she just grabbed a few coins. Nope, that's rejected. Okay, grab one extra. Nope, grab one extra. Nope, and just keep doing that until you get approved. And it wasn't because there wasn't really any distance between the barrel where you count the coins and where the robber baron was. So this wasn't the most well. This was the weakest task of the episode by far. And then we get a big chunk of driving afterwards where teams are also people. Teams have to drive into Cologne, Germany. And Joel says he's been lost self-driving more than when he was in different taxis through the first 7 episodes. Liam and Jeremy would very much disagree with that. I think if they had to self-drive this leg, Liam and Jeremy would have done a lot better than most teams. That's just my opinion. And that's Sarah Atwood's opinion from Nerdtainment too, because she's eager for a threesome with Liam and Jeremy. Threesome. So stupid. Steve says he can't be the navigator because he can't see. And out of nowhere, Steve develops a huge attitude. And it's like he was starting his menstrual cycle this episode. It was hilarious. Just where did this catty sassiness, other misogynistic words, terminology I can think of off the top of my head, where did all of that come from? He just why is he so pissed? Did he not get a juice? Did his straw break in the juice box carton that he got on the flight from India to Germany? What the hell happened? Why is he being so sassy with Annalie, where she just wants to win? She's like DJ Khaled and T-Pain. All she wants to do is win. And then Steve is just being a downer. If this was Dave and Buster's, it's like Dave died or something. That's how Steve is reacting. You would think that I don't know. You think he would feel even better because Germany, the sun isn't as intense as where he's been the past 6 legs. He's finally not looking like a tomato anymore. But instead, he's just acting like a whiny little child. That's hilarious. I love father-daughter teams where the father is just really cranky and whiny the whole time. Look at Ron and Christina. Legendary team. Ron is awesome. The real truth flavor. Come on. That's a classic Amazing Race quote. He is the real truth flavor. I would see that guy run. I don't like returnees. I will never watch All-Star seasons. However, if Ron and Christina are brought back on the Amazing Race, I would be watching for more Ron content. In fact. Because that guy was just a star. And Gary and Mallory, Gary was just too level-headed. He couldn't reach. He couldn't reach Ron and Christina's potential. So here we have Steve, who is just as crazy as Ron this leg, which really makes the dynamic really fun to watch. And fans online were saying, "Oh, Annalie, I really hate her. She's, really bossy," which is such a sexist term. Come on, y'all. I don't know why I had a y'all in there. I never say y'all. I guess because I'm talking about Team Texas. And saying, "Oh, the way she's talking to her dad and the way she's being too competitive. And now she's trying to win $1 million. I just hate that. I hate that." And here we have Steve, who is just channeling his inner mean girl pretty much. And no one's really calling him out online as much. They just think it's hilarious. So that really makes you think about how people view men and women on reality shows. Where if Steve does it, it seems endearing and real, but when Annalie does it, she's the scum of the earth. And then she's not the scum of the earth. She's Annalie. Sure, she doesn't know what a rickshaw is, despite being a full-time travel blogger. But my God, chill. Take a chill pill, people. But you have to get a prescription for a chill pill. And I don't work in a pharmacy anymore for the past few years, so I can't give you those chill pills. Todd, of course, makes another terrible pun, except Phil Kogan wasn't around to yell at him for it this time by saying that he is on his high horse. And after completing, oh yeah, there was after the roadblock, they had to go to that German carnival where one person had to cycle a fake horse and the other person threw out flowers. It was just a fun little active route info. The amount again, the variation on how much of a lead you could get from that task was pretty much nil. Somehow Morgan and Lena found a way to fight at this task. I thought, oh, that's a fun task for everybody, but not for Morgan and Lena because they find the most random times to fight. And apparently one of them was cycling too fast while the other was throwing out flowers. That was a big deal, apparently. Imagine if, oh, you know what would have been the worst express pass use? If they could still use it through leg 7 and Morgan and Lena use the express pass on this carnival task. That would have been hilarious. It's only a 1-minute task. I know, but you're cycling too fast while I'm throwing the flowers. Jesus Christ. Let's see. And then this was the best part with Andrew and Melina being so lost, is each time they got lost, they would ask a local for directions, and most Germans can speak English, so they would tell them, oh yeah, there would always be a different number each time they asked for directions. Oh yeah, you're 7 kilometers away from the car ferry. Oh yeah, you're 15. You're 25. You're 50. This is Liechtenstein. The number just kept increasing and decreasing at random. It was the best. Because sure, they could be 6 kilometers away, but then 5 minutes later, we're going to see a scene of them inside of the gas station, and suddenly they're 25 kilometers away. That was fantastic. That was fantastic to see. Lena and Morgan, they had a complete meltdown with self-driving. Morgan demanded to drive. Lena was removed. She was relieved of her position as the driver for the team. It was not done to Morgan's satisfaction. Let's see. And then when Annalie and Steve are in the parking garage, I believe this is the lead up to the carnival. And Annalie asks Steve, are you running or walking? And then Steve has the response of, damn it, don't freaking talk to me like that no more. Thinking, is this Steve or Hank Hill on crack? Like, well, what's going on here? I don't know why. No, that would just be Hank Hill. Hank Hill on crack would be nothing like Steve. Hank Hill would be very, very different if he was on cocaine. There would be no personality overlap with Steve. So that carnival task looked like fun, and then we get to the second roadblock of the leg, and this is a pet peeve of mine. Teams should be allowed, whether or not one team member does both roadblocks in a single leg, or choose to have each of them do one. Teams should have as much freedom as possible to decide how quickly one team member racks up 6 roadblocks in the roadblock count, and the other team member could potentially have to do the last 6 roadblocks of the race. It should really be up to the team. So it's a bit annoying when they get to that second roadblock and it's, oh, whoever didn't do the first roadblock has to do the second one. So that's dumb. Teams should have that freedom, because at the end of the season, you still have to have that ceiling of 6 or 7 roadblocks, whatever it is. Everyone still has to do an equal amount by seasons, and some forcing teams to split it just seems like an unnecessary rule when they have to have that set number by season's end anyway. Anyways, moving on from that, they have to find a marked love lock, and the lock combination will match the name of Cologne's favorite cologne, which is one of the best puns since Manila, the Manila leg in season 25, when Phil Kogan handed out the Manila envelopes at the end of leg 11, heading into the finale, that told teams, yeah, you're going to Los Angeles. And for the second roadblock, it was whoever I didn't say that for the first one. Just kidding. I'll go through it anyway. Greg, Robin, Ashley, Rob, Steve, Lena, Joel, and Malena, if she ever got there. She would have had to do that. Too bad. Too bad for her. She did not get to learn about Cologne's cologne. And unfortunately, because we are in the era where everybody has a smartphone on their person and almost everybody in Germany can speak English, you just have to go up to somebody and say, oh, can you look up the name of a cologne famous in Cologne? And yep, 4711. Sounds like a hotline number to order pizza. And I don't know what it is about German cities, but they like to name their towns over food or things. Hamburg, Frankfurt, and now Cologne. I hope there's like one that's like Wallet, Germany. We have Wallonia in Belgium. That's kind of close, but not. uh, and then when Steve's on his high horse, which he seems to have been this whole episode, he waves like the Queen of England. God rest her soul. By waving like the Queen on there. He really wanted to be treated like a queen this leg. Like, what happened to Steve this leg? Why is there a whole personality change? Or are we just seeing more of him now that there are fewer teams in 90-minute episodes? And we get to our detour where Phil reminds us that Germany has won the men's and the Women's World Cup, because we all know how popular the Women's World Cup is every 4 years. I'm about one of 10 people that watch it seems, which is about 3 more people than who watch the WNBA. That was more of a Norm Macdonald joke rather than my own joke. So there was Just for Kicks, where you play soccer darts. You kick a soccer ball, hit it onto a dartboard. You have to have 66 points. Bertram, Elise, the goal should have been 69 points. What were you thinking? So Todd and Ashley and Rob and Corey initially choose soccer darts, but Todd and Ashley switch. They're forced to switch to the other detour. It's like similar to episode 5 all over again for them. And there is Identify Mustard, or Matters of Taste, where you have to taste different types of mustard. There was a Riesling mustard. Riesling is my favorite type of wine. I just cannot make that mental leap that there's Riesling wine and Riesling mustard. That would be like, I don't know, a chocolate pizza, which I didn't know do exist. That'd be like a chocolate pizza, or I don't know, marshmallow French fries. Just things that you don't think would be good together. So a lot of teams, I guess, are very hungry today. So, and especially Steve. I think Steve just needed a Snickers, if you ask me. We have Greg and John. I was about to say Greg and Joel, but again, I'm not Chantel Francis. Greg and John, Robin and Chelsea, Steve and Annalie, Todd and Ashley, Morgan and Lena, and Joel and Garrett. They all chose the mustard task. And what would Andrea and Malena have chosen? I'm going to assume mustard. I just can't see Malena getting the hang of cracking the soccer darts tasks the same way that Corey did. And Phil says mustard seed has been around so long it was even mentioned in the Bible. Yeah, that's the barrier of whether something has been around for a really long time. Was it mentioned in the Bible? If so, it's really old. If not, it may as well have just been released yesterday. Yeah, I wish Phil Kogan had said mustard seed has been around for so long it's even older than Mel White from season 14. He would have had the same point come across. Robin ignores Ashley on the bridge yet again. Well, kind of ignores her less than usual. She did say, "Oh, just keep going that way," or something like that. I don't know. Some sort of bullshit that I didn't really pay attention to. Andrea and Melina, when they get to the first roadblock again, oh, they're so out of breath. Out of towners. And let's see. Andrea was the one, by the way, who clued in that they were at the wrong car ferry. If Andrea wasn't there, I don't know if Melina would have clued in that it was the wrong car ferry. Let's see. Greg and John say mustard is like Baskin Robbins in Chicago. Apparently, Chicago is not a ketchup city. If you put ketchup on anything in Chicago, they'll throw you into Iowa like that. Yeah, if you do, if you bring out a bottle of Heinz, they're going to kick your Heinzie right into Iowa. Let's see. We see Ashley help Rob, which everyone thought, oh, it's so heartfelt because then Rob doesn't have to communicate with the locals. Try to attempt to communicate in sign language. Yeah, I guess that was nice of Ashley. Yeah, she didn't have to do that. In the long run, it really wouldn't have mattered because I'm sure teams clued in that either Joel and Garrett or Andrew and Melina were going to be eliminated at that point. But yeah, all right. Good Samaritan, Ashley. And let's see. And yeah, we keep getting those updates. Ashley doesn't know how darts is scored. I don't even know if she knows how soccer is scored, to be frank with you, or Margarita. Todd. It went unaired, but I believe Todd told Ashley, "Oh, soccer. Soccer is just like basketball, but you use your legs instead of your hands." I think Ashley would have punched Todd very quickly and really hard if he coached her in that manner. And there was one mustard called Knobloch, and because I grew up in a baseball family, there's a famous baseball player named Chuck Knobloch, Knoblauch. And so you'd hear his last name all the time on sports commentary, especially with how often the Yankees would play the Toronto Blue Jays. Well, Greg and John get to the Knobloch mustard, and I believe they said Knobloch. Or Knobloch, I believe. So I don't think they know who Chuck Knobloch is in baseball. Pretty hilarious. Let's see. I thought the mustard task would be a lot harder, but a lot of teams figured it out. It was apparently a lot easier than freaking soccer darts. And some teams eat their food right on the spot, and some teams wait till the pit stop to eat their food. Yeah, they got free mustard samples. Given how expensive Germany is, that's pretty generous to get free mustard and some meat. Let's see. Lena is very out of breath when she does the second roadblock because, again, this has been a common theme since the first round, but with the individual locks, as the early ones are taken, that means for trailing teams, it's tougher for them to catch up because there are fewer locks left. And I don't mind that because the bigger you're late, the more of an advantage you should have during the leg. I think that's appropriate. Let's see. Joel and Garrett get to the point that they are certain they are last. Joel does the second roadblock, and he's really taken his time with that. Him and Garrett also took their time at the mustard tasting task because nobody else. I think they show up there. I don't really care if they were there at the same time as Morgan and Lena. Either they showed up just as Morgan and Lena were finishing, or they showed up and they showed up by themselves and just figured, oh, we're last. No one else has come. No one else. We didn't see anyone leave. So let's just take our time to enjoy all of this mustard. And hey, when we get eliminated, I'll have plenty of time to flick the mustard from my beard or my mustache into my mouth and taste it from there. Let's see. Greg and John, They win another leg, 4,000 USD each of them. Again, that's a more ideal prize. Oh yeah, Stephen Annalee, Maritesh, Megadeth, Megadeth mustard. They really had a tough time with that one. Maggot dish. Let's see. Yeah, good kudos to Corey for figuring out how to approach the soccer darts task in a way that no one else figured it out, especially not Todd and Ashley. And let's see. Yeah, second was Robin and Chelsea somehow. I don't know how they managed that. That's a yo-yoing team. 11th, 11th, 5th, 1st, 7th, 8th, 2nd. They're either in the bottom three or they finished in the middle once, or the top three, twice now? Yeah, we have a Morgan Lane and Robin and Chelsea, both very, very streaky teams. And it's a very heavy contrast to Todd and Ashley. Todd and Ashley were third. Fourth was Robin and Corey. Fifth was Stephen and Anna Lee, who aren't as strong as everyone thought they were. Sixth is Morgan and Lena. Seventh is Joel and Garrett, who were absolutely certain they were gone. And then Phil has to backtrack all the way to the carnival task. The carnival is gone. It looks like a depressing scene. And Andre and Milena show up to make it to the horse bicycles, with no horsicle to ride. And Phil eliminates them, informing them they were late, very late to the party. And that is it. The new episode 8 starts in 4 minutes. I hope you enjoyed this hour or so refresher on what's happened in the past 2 episodes. And that is that. Enjoy. Oh, peace out and just chill till the next episode. I almost forgot my sign off. That would have been embarrassing.